I got this used book on persuasive arguments, right? You know, had him read a couple, learn the difference between ethos, pathos, logos. He got it. He got it.
If I hear ethos, pathos,
you know,
papers and essays I've been writing, ethos.
But the thing is, you know, Mommy, can we read a couple more pages from the book? Mommy, can we still read the book? I'll read the book. And he's very into it. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, so now I can say maybe a lawyer, you know, now I'm going to have you do some of this on paper. Okay, well, so you have another track. But there is that third track. You got to be a student, you got to be an athlete, you know, but you also have to be yourself.
Yeah.
And what else is it that you enjoy?
Well, see, and I think that's kind of what I focus on for my boys. I need them to understand that no one is perfect, and while straight A's might be attainable for your kids, and straight A's and B's might be attainable for your kids, we might be a A, B, C.
I know what we are.
Like that might just be who we are. I'm not.
That's right.
You know, I'm not. But I don't want you to be ashamed of that,
right?
Because I need for you to be okay with what you get. Now, here's what I know. I know you're a math science kid,
right?
I know you should have A and B in those.
Right.
I'm not going to push you towards an A all the time, because come January, February, March, we're hitting the end of the school year, spring break, and AAU. It's a lot going on. And I'm a single parent. So we might not even get home tonight. I might be like, hey, I'm going to do these questions.
Yeah. But I mean, even
you go to sleep. I'm going to just, touch on a few things on these questions.
Well, and some of these things we control. I went to my first piano lesson. I was like, oh yeah, no, you can't be a concert pianist because I can't sit here. I can't do this.
But you have to know who your kid is. My youngest, on the flip side, Keenan, is not a math science kid, but he's an English kid. He can write. He can do history. He can remember some. Cameron is very good with his memory, but he's not creative. He can't write a paper. You can't say, how do you think Timmy felt? He's looking for how Timmy felt in the book. He's not. That's just not who he is. And honestly, that's always been our struggle with basketball too, because if the coach told him, go set a screen, this is what's supposed to happen, boy's supposed to roll off, he shoots three, and if that doesn't happen,
right.
Cameron's looking like,
what happened?
Hold up.
What happened?
Who messed up? Because I set the screen.
Right.
He went the wrong way. You know, he's that kid. Yeah. So I've had to learn, I can't A and B you to death. Right. I've got to do the best that you can, and then, okay, let's go up from here. Right. Let's see where we are here. Even he's a freshman in high school now, I have to change that schedule. Like, hey, we're not going to do what all your friends do. We're going to go back and let's retake Algebra 1. It's not going to hurt you, and this is going to help you in the long run. You don't need trig. You're not trying to be an engineer or a mathematician. You've already stated that. That's not where we need to be. Let's get our grades up.
Well, when I even look at the difference, you know, when my daughter went to college, academics is so different. You know, like, she went to study hall, and there were people sitting right next to her, and there were resources in college. It was almost impossible for her to fail.
Yeah.
We did I do a lot of homework. But so with my son, we start kind of looking at that, you know, and I talk a lot about that. You know, when you go to college, you're gonna have a tutor over here. They do a lot of tests on the road. They have a room downstairs in the hotel that's a study hall. They are taking tests, and they have, I mean, there are just a lot of resources, because I'm telling you that at the collegiate level, it's like bananas. And as much as people say, you know, that head coach is not worried about if you finish that paper.
Right.
They just are not. Now, he has an academic person that is his holding responsible for that. But he ain't worried about that.
Right.
He has to do film and game plan, and that's what he's there for. So kids don't see that in high school, and when they get to college, that's like a wow. Yeah. That's a transition. Yeah. But there's so much help. Like, if you're in class, it's somebody standing outside the classroom, and they're called the class checker. They have a little machine, and they just check off if you're in class, and the message goes to the coaching staff, and so you can't say you were in class. So there are just some things that I think we put a lot of pressure on kids, and they lose that balance. Like my son is a social butterfly. You know, he'll run for Duke and homecoming king and the prom king. That's who he is, because he thinks, you know, the party don't start. You know, so he's a lights, camera, but he's been in theater, and he did a lot of that kind of stuff. So Donovan is just that theatrical kind of kid. So we try to help him develop all of those skills. You want to run for something? Get you a poster. Somebody, if it's to vote, they're going to vote for Donovan because he's that kid. But you got to get your academics, you got to do this. And then they have to be able to just live and breathe and develop those personalities. So you got to find a balance with all of that.
You don't want them thinking that they have to. I don't ever want my kids to feel like you have to be held at such as someone else's standard all the time. Like, have your own standard for yourself. And it may what I have in mind for you might not be what you have in mind for you. But when I was growing up, when I was younger, I was super tall, and I'm still super tall. But back then I was super tall. Now as girls drink a lot of milk. But my mom, that meant, you're a model. You talk I was in my mind, I had my own idea of who I was gonna be, and I had just seen the Brenda's Got a Baby video. I wanted that whole Carl Kanai outfit. I wore cross colors. I wore a bandana, shaved off my eyebrow, and my eyebrow pierced. There's the scar to prove it. And wore brown lip liner. That was me. That was who Nakia was. And I played basketball, ran track. I had every pair of Dion's and every pair of Hirachis your life could imagine. That I just wasn't who my mom wanted me to be. And I think for a long time, my mom and I battled with that growing up. Like, I went to private school, so I was kind of always in a dress. But the 1 year I got to go to public school, we won't talk about why I was on 1 year, but it was 1 year I got to go to public school, and it was a day I had to designate to a dress. Like, that was my mom's rule.
My mom sent me to the public school in this long skirt.
That was pretty much how I understood it. I was so hot.
It was so embarrassing.
But I just I don't want them to do that. And I want them to understand if English is not your strong suit and shooting threes is not your thing, that's okay. It's something else you could be better at. You're great in math and science. You jump out this world and get that rebound. You have a great dry humor.
You have a great personality, baby.
And I think you have a fabulous smile. So let's build on those. And it doesn't have to be so much pressure to be perfect.
So since they're all into sports, and you talked about a balance, how do you approach them basically to let them know that, look, basketball, it's okay if you don't play this, because to them it's like, just to many of them, maybe not to yours, but to many it's like, this is who I have to do it. This is who I am. So what is your communication when it comes down to saying, look, it's okay? Because do they look at you and be like, Mom, you tripping? Or
I say that every about mid-May, June. I'm like, hey, we don't have to do this. I'm done. I'm tired. But I had a requirement for my kids. They did have to play sports all the way until high school. A lot of it for me was to learn balance, because when they get in high school or even middle school, it may not be sports, it may be theater, or debate clubs or something, but something that's going to take your time, and you're going to understand that in life. You're going to have one main job, and then there's going to be other things that you have to balance with it. Honestly, my son has hit, I think it's today, this could all change in February, but as of right now, football's a huge priority for him. I personally think it's his main sport, and I don't know how much longer we'll be in AAU.
I'm being to interrupt you. What sport does he think is his main sport? Is his benefit?
July, he thought it was basketball.
Okay.
He really did. He starts his freshman year. He makes varsity football. He's now starting. They in the playoffs. He's okay. He's not on that basketball court right now. As a matter of fact, I had to check him, put them basketball shoes up in the closet. Don't wear those for fun, because I still paid for him for basketball, so you gonna get on that court. That's basketball money. But it shifts for him. It shifts. Like it shifts.
But see, when they doing that spring football, you know it's serious.
Yeah, but he's a, like I said, he's a kind of an athlete, just plays multiple sports. So it can always change. But I think now he's learning, and I told him this would happen. You're gonna hit a point, whether it's 9th grade, 10th grade, or 11th grade, you're gonna hit a point where you realize, I love this, but this is for me. Like, I love cake batter. But I can't eat cake batter all day.
I do.
It's got raw eggs in it. Don't do that. It's gonna be sick. You not see what the hell? You're gonna die, girl. Don't do that. But there are just, there are certain things that you. It's gonna be something you can play and have fun with the rest of your life. You have that, but that just might not be, what's for you. And he's learning that. He's learning, okay, well, here's where I would have to be in basketball, and here's the dedication I would have to give basketball. Football comes a little bit more naturally for me, and it's easier for me to give it that dedication. Who knows? He may, take driver's ed and realize he like having a basketball in his seat. And, it changes. You never know what changes, so.
But I think when what I did, I didn't do this with my daughter. She played basketball, and we were basketball 25-8.
Okay.
And that's what we did.
Yeah.
Because she was the kid who did whatever I said. If I said this, and that's what I knew at the time. She was a tall girl. She wanted to be a cheerleader, but I didn't want anybody standing on her back. She was gonna be at the bottom of the pyramid and all of that. So we weren't gonna do that. So basketball was what it was. Now my son, again, the personality is different. So he started off as a swimmer. Loves swimming. He learned how to swim when he was like 2. And maybe by the time he was 6, he was swimming competitively.
Okay.
So Donovan loves to swim. And there are some days when I think if he could really go and swim competitively, he'd swim rather than play basketball. And here's why. And you got to understand when I say this. He, in his heart of hearts, he's really an individual sport kind of kid.
I know what you mean.
He likes the basketball, but there are times when he be like, oh man. So internally, intrinsically, he really is kind of, he doesn't like group work. He doesn't want anybody. I don't want to be in a group. Just tell me what my assignment is and let me do it. And however it is, that's going to be on me. So we started off swimming. I took him to play basketball. He about 8 or 9, and this was a black coach. He asked me. He said, "Well, does he play any other sports?" And I said, "Well, yes. As a matter of fact, he's a swimmer." And so the coach said, "Oh, swimmer."
I was thinking the same thing.
I was like, okay,
right.
You know what? My baby swims and he loves it. He does not like to miss swim. Like, that'd be a first. I'm like, I don't have to go to swim tonight. He's like, no, mama.
But it came from my dad was a swim coach, so everybody and he taught everybody in Galveston to swim. So what started out is just we're gonna learn how to swim. He loves the water. I mean, the kid can really, really swim. So then he tried football in Little League, and he totally hates football because he don't want to be touched. He don't want nobody to hit it. He not worried about you catch. If you coach, you say I gotta catch that ball, but if this boy coming, I ain't catching that ball. So football was not, and football was too. It wasn't enough action. The offense is off, so he got to sit over here and wait too long to get back on the field. So he's got to be in the action. He would like to swim at his school. It just coincides with basketball. And I really think if he had enough courage to do what he thinks he's supposed to do, basketball, and he likes it. It's
Didn't
not
he
that.
swim for the
but
school and AAU basketball? Do the summer basketball and swim for the school?
And not play
And I
high school
played high school.
basketball.
Hey, y'all
No
just
man.
made that sound like I said, why don't he just steal $10 instead of waiting for his mama to come home?
But even like with theater, he's
Yeah.
been in drama and public speaking and all of that since elementary school. And so when he's at school and he sees everybody about to do a play, he really wants to be in the play.
Yeah.
But you got to stay after school.
Yeah.
And so he can't divide his time. So basketball is his thing. But what I like about it the most is that he's been exposed
Yeah.
to so many different things to know enough to like
Yeah.
other
Other
things.
stuff.
Other stuff,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he'll go to a play.
Yeah.
And some people say, he will go
Yeah.
to a play because that's what he likes. And he'll watch a swim meet.
Yeah.
And he'll do those kinds of things. So he's not just tunnel vision. And when he gets too much of basketball, he'll go to the pool.
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
a
that's
friend
good.
that works at a pool in Harris County.
Yeah.
And he'll go and just get in the pool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My youngest is that way. He's not addicted to sports as my oldest is. I feel like sometimes my oldest gets a little addicted to it and like Balla's legit life. My youngest is like, I always call him, he was the snow cone kid. Like, so he's like, hey, we can do this, but we getting snow cones afterwards? Like,
Yeah.
that was like
Yeah.
priority.
The treat.
Like, I'm gonna swing this back. At the ninth inning, I need you to have a snow cone ready. And he's now learning sports and he's getting into it. But I think it was, I don't know if it was hard for him or if it was hard for me. It was hard for us as a family, collectively, to understand.
Right.
It was hard for me to understand why he didn't like sports. Their dad played football and ran track in college and then spent a few years in the NFL. I play sports.
Right. Why wouldn't we?
You got this, baby.
Right.
It's in you.
Right.
But
Right.
he was really into, drawing comic books and building Legos. And, some kids are just, they don't get it till later.
Or they don't get it. And I mean, I think that's one of the hardest things as a parent to do is say, if I take you off this track and really develop the track that you want to be on, how is that going to play out? Will you regret it? Will I regret it?
Yeah.
Will you regret it? Will everyone call us crazy? Whatever it is. So one of the things that I have, and I think I've just realized now, this is why we don't have this, it has to be ball. And I'm not sure how it really plays out, but so we don't need basketball to get a college scholarship.
Right.
When each one of them kids was 6 weeks old, I wrote a whole check for all 4 years of college and put it in one of the little funds. So they go to college one way or the other.
Right.
Like they don't need, we'll take a scholarship. Where's the camera? Let me make sure I'm looking at the camera. We'll take a scholarship because the money will come back. Well, no, because like my oldest
who said she didn't need
right.
We need all our money ASAP.
So for example, my oldest, he had a 4-year academic. He never touched his money.
Okay.
So that money right now can either roll over or I think it can be cashed out somewhere. It's just sitting in, I got money on my butt. At home, we don't emphasize it as baby, that's your out.
Right.
Right.
So it's not the out for them. It's a choice for them. So, if they don't go play on the court, they still gonna go to college, they gonna still go do this, that, and whatever.
What? How many kids really feel like, and let me tell you something, I don't come from inner city, let me just say that, so it's no out for us either. Like, my oldest legit
Just like
loves
that.
sports, and he wants to play college sports,
Well, the reason
and he wants to be in the
mentioned
NFL,
it is,
and I want academics to, and I put him in an amazing school to have those academics, but ball is life to him.
So
Like
the reason
really
I
is.
mention it, and this has been something that I just hear a lot more since I've moved here, although it may just be that people where I was knew me more to not ask that question. But I get asked by different trainers or coaches, so, does he understand that this is a way to college? All right, so I know, because it's not. It's not. I mean, again, yes, we will take a spot on a slot on the team. Like that's not,
Right.
But that's not
an
something, and it's just like cultural. That's not. We don't connect those two in our house. We just don't. It's. It's fun. And I mean, it is a lot of fun. I mean, sports is a lot of fun. I mean, they really get into it. It's competitive. I have 2 of my 3 kids have a real competitive edge. There's a lot of strategy to it. There's a lot of other stuff in it why they do it. Right. But I think if something else veered them off, like I have one that's very easily going to get veer off to do something else. And right now he can't do it because of his age. But I actually decided that I was going to spend it. So he wants to be a pilot.
Okay.
Can't do it till you're 16. Just like kids who want to drive.
Right.
But I found out he can do ground school. So for his birthday, I'm actually going to get him a little discovery flight, and then I'm going to put him in ground school. But you know what? If he starts saying, well, I'd rather go to ground school twice a week than go to...
Okay, so then let me ask you this question. Grades start slipping because he's at ground school so much.
No, you stop right there. That's a false.
So
grades don't start slipping
because then here's why I always say where you have to find the balance, right? Because everything can't always be. This is just me.
Yeah.
Everything can't always be, and I think, and I try to be very realistic in my approach. Everything can't always be an A here and an A there. It just can't. It just, sometimes that just doesn't balance out. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. What constitutes you saying, no, this is not acceptable? Like, is 100 to 90 acceptable, but 89 not? And I'm asking because whether it's sports or being a pilot, there are things that take away from, because most kids, I won't even say most, a lot of kids don't like school per se. Like that's not, nobody's saying like, oh man, can't wait to go to algebra today. Can't wait to PEMDAS you to death. But they understand you have to have these, this is a prerequisite, a requirement, or whatever.
So for a lot of things with my kids, again, whether it's this or that, and for one of my kids, I do struggle a little bit with basketball because of some of his limitations that make me say maybe we should get a violin. But anyway, for as a parent, I think the part of the responsible thing that you have to do is be able to see where your kids can grow into. So for example, my oldest, and maybe it's because he's a little like me with this one, can't pick up a language. Could not pick up a language for nothing. I mean, we did Spanish 1 3 times before we got to high school. And I mean, every time was sliding on that low BC. He had a tutor twice a week. I mean, I'm spending $100 a week just so you can pass Spanish. Hola. And when I tell you, his brain, linguistic intelligence was not his thing. So as a parent, what do? One, you can divert, and they got some great programs in Mexico. Yeah, where you will go and you'll learn the culture and you'll get more out of it, and so I had to figure out how to tailor language for him. Right. I have one kid who hates choir. Choir teacher hates him. He's big. He wants to sit like this. Choir teacher, the one thing she wants you to do is sit like this. Right. Well, this poor baby frame. He 185. All the stuff is growing. His knees hurt. He can't sit like this. He got to be in choir because he can't sit like this. Right. But you have to know. But then another example, science. He had 1 C. Oh, okay. The first C in his life. Okay, I'm rocking. What happened? Oh, no, she gave me the stumble sheet, just signed this here, and it was okay. Another C. I was like, yep, we mean with the teacher. We're going to understand. Because what I wanted to do, I was like, I need to see these tests. I need to understand, do you not know science? Right. Because last year you knew science. Right. Or is it the teacher? Is it how you're being taught? Is it the test? Whatever. So in that particular situation, it turned out it was the test. The teacher teaches best answer. Right. Something you need to do for Texas and Cheeks, and they're working towards some of this stuff. And nothing wrong with best answer concept. Right. But I said, okay, now baby, I'm going to show you how to study for and take a best answer test. Right.
Next he wasn't familiar with it.
Next test, 97. Yeah. Okay, so now that's your standard. Right. technology. He keeps giving me these like low B's. And I'm like, baby, why? You know, well, it's a this hard test. I still can't figure out what's going on with those low B's in technology. I've kind of decided, so technology is where they build the pen, or
like a robotics
something, yeah. I was like, all right, you know what? Because you can take that class 2 or 3 times.
Right.
I was like, let me check your schedule, make sure you're not in this next semester.
Right.
You know what I'm like, hey, this isn't worth it.
This isn't
he enjoys it, but I'm like, you know, is this worth it? You know. So it does depend. There are definitely things that my kid and I have decided it's okay for you not to be the best at. There are other things that we say, well, if you don't like ground school, you can't be about it.
Right.
You know? But also at the same time, I tell them, I'm like, if you can't jump further than this far off the ground, you can't be a basketball player either. So, you know, you either got to start liking ground school or you got to start liking jumping or figure out how to jump. Out, you know what I mean? So there are some of those fundamental skills that come before that. And then also with grades, as you know, there's different levels to it. Right. You know, so I'm a big fan of put your kid in a level that they're going to get an A or B. Like, you know, to your point with math. Yeah. You don't have to you keep up with little Joey, like you said. Not everybody needs calculus. Look at the track. If your kid, for what he's doing, he doesn't need calculus, slow him down. Yeah. Let him get the fundamentals.
Because that's what, for me, algebra is your core. So
when we were talking about the whole college and the writing of the check and everything, I say this. For me, and I saw it even before having kids, because again, I come from a sports family. Sports was a way not only to go to college, but to just extend and broaden kids. When my daughter was in college, you know, they went to Italy. You know, they went to so many different places, and there were so many different things that she learned at the expense or at the privilege of that little round basketball. So for me, that's what it means for me. She's playing overseas now, so she's on passport number 2. This is probably at 25. She's a well-traveled kid, and that's something that. She has a degree from Texas A&M, but oh my God, to have been in Turkey and China and Russia and all of those things because of basketball. So when I talk to my son about it, that's what it is. It's going to give you an opportunity to go to any college that you might want to go. Now, you know, I didn't write no checks and go to E-Trade and all that kind of stuff. So if you're going to school on my money, then here's where you can go. Right. If you want to go.
There is that. There is that. There is. You know what? I should say that again. You're right. You're right. Because my money is only getting spent to be scared. Right. It's just
if you want this, if you want to be at a different kind of level, then here's what you have to do. That round basketball, or if it's a football or whatever it is, sports to me is just a gateway to give kids so many other experiences that they're never gonna get. They're not when I went to college, we didn't have a team concept. I lived in a dorm. I had a roommate. I did whatever. There's so many lessons and the structure of college sports that kids need to learn and transfer. But for me, the biggest thing is just all the lessons and the places that they're gonna go and the people. I mean, my daughter met President Obama, you know, because they won a national championship. Any other way, she's not in the Oval Office, or she doesn't have that opportunity. So that's what I look at sports, you know, as a way of exposing, especially Black kids. We don't go on vacations. Wherever we go, sometimes if we're in Las Vegas, I know all the places in Las Vegas.
We're going to hit the sky. He already knows. I'll show y'all how to go on vacation. Because I vacation.
I mean, we try to do that, but sometimes it's so hard because basketball is life for me too.
Let me tell y'all what I canceled this week. Because my son's team has practice this weekend and a tournament next weekend. I was going to get on a flight on Saturday and go to London for the day. Then I was gonna go to Turkey. I was planning to leave the airport, but due to some other reasons, apparently you can't go to the airport. Then I was gonna go to Maldives. It's this little island in the middle of I was gonna go there for 4 days. Then I was gonna fly back to Dubai for a 10-hour layover, and I was gonna come home. That was my Thanksgiving. But due to basketball,
Well, I was gonna get a pedicure and get the edge of somebody been all sorts of
it's
so
like
now we
San
got practice.
Antonio. So we're not the exact opposite, girl. Basketball
That's all
is
I
taking
had.
my life away. Basketball is canceling vacations.
It does.
Basketball is reducing the number of pedicure Saturdays I have.
I'm gonna tell you this. It doesn't.
Oh.
It's like, for me, it's like such a beautiful thing because then
Yeah.
I like to go where my kids are, and so
I
we're
was thinking that.
we're in a city, and we learn and explore
Yeah.
that city. But I just think sports is a gateway to so many things that just going to when I went to college, you know, I didn't experience those things because I wasn't an athlete. So,
But I do want the parents of athletes to know that's not the only way. You can do a lot of that with the debate team.
Well,
You can do a lot
yeah.
of that with choir and band. I mean,
But I think also though, here's my little rant. Culturally,
they're okay.
everything has its place.
No, we do
its own
band.
culture.
Don't play. We do band.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that we don't do band. My kids, Cameron is a drummer and Keenan plays a guitar. I'm sick of both of them, but we do it. You know, that's not. And Cameron's in the choir. I gotta go rent another little tux. And my kids are in private school. They are very well-rounded. But let me tell you something basketball gave us that private school did not give us. Okay, the only thing my kids knew was the even all around haircut. We got that one time, and that was it. They would get pissed off because the head was cold, and that was it. But that's all I knew, and that's all they knew. Okay?
did you cut it yourself?
No, I like edge up, so we gonna be crispy clean. Okay, my edge up, a little crispy.
I remember when my mom cut my brother's hair.
But what we
I feel so
didn't
bad for
know
him.
is we didn't know. And again, I'm a single parent. I work hard. Moving to Houston for me, we're moving here. I don't care how hard I gotta work. I didn't know Houston wasn't zoned for one, so then I really had to make sure I got in the community that I wanted to, put them in the school that I wanted them to go to, put them around the people that I wanted them around, so that I knew when he's 16 and he's in the car with some friends, I'm pretty sure I did everything that I could in my power for him to be a great freaking kid. Okay? So, but at the end of the day, we're in 4th grade, and Cameron cannot listen to this podcast. But his name is Cameron. This child cried because his name was not Connor. Mind you, our last name is Bonner. So he wanted to be Connor Bonner. You know, I'm like,
Right.
you are, do you know who you are? Be okay with who you are. I'm sorry. Okay, well tell Bradley you can't come over today because you get a haircut every Friday. This has not changed. Why all of a sudden Bradley can come to the barbershop with us? It's on Antoine. If Mary Beth is okay with that, we good. If not, we'll see y'all Saturday morning. You know, this is our life, and you have to not be ashamed of who you are. So when we got on our first AAU team, he was with Houston Hoops D. Gibbs, and I will never forget, he met his teammate Justin, and Justin went up to give him some little dab, and my son said,
Yeah.
personally, I'm a clown, I fell out laughing. It was funny. But it was an aha moment for me that there is so much culturally he would not have learned if it wasn't for basketball. He's okay with his name being Cameron now. And we have an inside joke from the show Blackish. I'll call him Devontae sometimes. Just if you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch it. But he now sports I just call it the starting five haircut. Well, he owns starting five of somebody, but you know, it's curl sponge,
it's the standard,
oil, water, and coconut oil, whatever. And he's into his clothes. He has a swag to him. He has an esteem he didn't have before. He's okay with his name being Cameron, which he didn't have a choice. But it created something for him. Well, I've given him everything else. I've given you education. I've given you a great upbringing. You done it all. This kid done did it all. He basically things I ain't never been in my life. I'm probably not gonna get a chance to do without unless he make it, or in anything, not just sports. It's in anything. And yet he wasn't secure in being a young black boy.
And mine struggled with that. So mine did not really understand that till he went to Morehouse. First summer of Morehouse. He called me, he was like, Mom, I am so embarrassed. I did not know what Prada was. I did not know, you know what I mean? He did not know anything about clothes. Anything. Because where he went, you could wear, what do you call those pajamas,
just do whatever.
It was just do whatever. His name's Jordan, so he did have Jordans, but that was literally the only flash shoes that I would get him. But he had Jordans every year it came out. I would sit there on Saturday mornings. I'd be on my phone. I'd be on the line.
You a good mom.
That's the one. Oh, me and Saturday mornings and Jordans. But that's his name. It was his birthday. He was 92. He got it.
That's why you gotta name him Cameron. Ain't no shoes named Cameron.
That's right.
But sometimes with that, it's and I don't know how much room we have to talk about when the what I call the revealing of being the black man, or when you come into it. But every black man has to come into it. There's some 30-year-olds I be seeing on Fox News like, one day, brother, you gonna come into it.
Who you
You
are.
gonna come into who you are. When they do, it is a different time. And that's one thing that I do somewhat struggle with my younger two, and right now my middle one, he's in 7th grade. So I ask a lot of questions, because I remember 7th grade as a black student in a very majority white. You're invisible. And for girls, you are invisible to the popular, cute black boys. And one thing that I don't want my son to do, because I think he's cute, is to ignore or somehow not appreciate that girls that look like his mother, like him.
I got a for that, but I don't know if you
So again, 7th grade, and I don't do it young, but 7th grade, I'm starting to have this, because we can't walk up and down our street and just knock on someone's door and find, so I'm constantly like, so have you talked to the black kids today? And so have you talked? Because you don't have to like them, but I'm not gonna force you to be someone's friend, right? But you're going to say hello, and you're going to be respectful, and you're going to say hi, and you're going to understand that they are a part of your community. But in real life, literally, I'm like, baby, when I was going around the corner, I saw them was all walking to the park. So tomorrow after school, maybe you should go around the corner from us.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I don't know a lot about most Houston schools, so I don't know how Elkins is, but predominantly not black is definitely what my son's school is. And I'm just gonna say this: it was a rule. I was like, hey, Keisha, there's not a girl named Keisha.
Right.
That's my generic black name.
Right.
Keisha is 8th grade and it's dance. You taking Keisha. So whatever you plan on for Abby, I'm gonna need you to do for Keisha. That's the rule. Let's go meet Keisha's mom. So she already know. Another black boy came. I was like, great. Keisha get 2 people to fight over her. Let me go tell his mom, because here's why. I grew up in private school in Arlington, Texas. Okay? I was the only black. I remember Brian, I'm not gonna say his last name, asking me one day at a long cafeteria table, we're all just talking. How can you tell a black girl's pretty? I mean, not like Mariah Carey. I know how to tell she's pretty.
Right.
And I'm sitting here like, Okay, I know I got eczema, but I was cute though. You know,
A little bit.
yeah, like, oh, well, I don't know. You know, and there's only one black boy in the grade, right? There's one as a freshman, there's one that's a sophomore, there might be 2 juniors and 1 senior, right? Now you gotta be everybody prom day, because their mom feels the way that, and now I understand how their mom felt.
Right.
You know, I'll leave my son's social status out of this, but no, I wanted that,
Right.
and not gonna lie, I still want it. You have the opportunity to take a young lady, and you want to know why? Kim, I was never asked to my own prom. Never. I always had to ask somebody to my own. Because Connor's not asking me.
Right.
And I remember when Katie told me her boyfriend's friend liked me, but shh.
Right. Don't tell.
Right.
Right.
Because that can't get
Nobody
out.
can know.
You know, so for me, it is. You're not gonna make me feel like that. And let me tell you, let me be the first to say, for somebody I know coming from my past and tell me, I dated plenty of white boys. That's not my issue. Is not, but I do let him know that
You need to respect our community.
Yeah, and just FYI, I want you to know,
Yeah.
if you marry a white girl and y'all have 2 kids, a son and a daughter, the daughter's gonna marry someone like you, but who cares? Because they're going to last name. She gonna be somebody else anyway. She gonna be Johnson, and your son is gonna marry someone like his mom, and
Right.
well, your grandkids gonna be white,
It's gonna
and
be
that's
what's
it.
best. You're not gonna.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You can't hang around with people that don't respect people that look like you.
Right.
And you can't go around school avoiding people that look like you. And you have to learn that, you know, first off, you may have the same experiences as this person. You may not. I mean, your experiences are somewhat unique. We're gonna start with, you know, you just got here, you know, 2 years ago. So, you know, you're unique from that. Start with that, right? But, you know, you have to meet a whole bunch of people. And you know, I feel like I had some success with this with my 25-year-old now, in that he can go anywhere in the world and meet people. And it is, you know, a testament to making sure that he always expanded his community beyond, you know, the football boys and the girls who like the football boys and the girls who like the basketball. Like, no, you need to find girls that you actually like.
Have something.
Well, we do diverse. Elkins is a highly diverse school.
Okay.
There's black and there's white and there's Indian and there's Asian, and I think just the makeup of that neighborhood kind of dictates to that. But for me, it's been a sense of my son learning about who we are as a people. You're gonna learn about us. You're gonna be around us. You're gonna be around us. You're gonna be around us. And then you can go out and you can meet other people. But initially, in our family structure, in our communities, where I work, my daughter got it really well. I worked at Jack Yates most of her elementary school years. So if you ask Kelsey where she's from, she's gonna tell you I'm from the track. I'm from Third Ward. She's not from Third Ward. And she grew up in Third Ward, and that's like, oh, she is my Angela Davis.
Yeah.
But she went to a very diverse high school in Dulles, and then she went to Texas A&M University, where the black population is really small.
Yeah.
But Kelsey still took Angela Davis with her,
Yeah.
and she wasn't afraid to kind of voice that when she was there, because she wanted to be an African American Studies major. So my son now is in that. We expose him to who we are.
Right.
And then you go, you know, if he's going to a dance or something like that, he has had, yes, his dates have been black. They have been young black girls. And I had to do this because at first he was kind of stuck. He really kind of gravitated sometimes to, when he was very young, to white girls, and then he moved to black ones who were very light skinned. And you know, now we've kind of finally moved him into, you know,
All
the
the
chocolate
shades.
brown sisters, you know, kind of got it all going on too, like
Right,
mom,
like your mama.
you know.
Right.
So it's just really incorporating,
Yeah.
but it starts with us at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we have family reunions. We have a lot of
Yes.
things. We talk a lot about social structure and social status, and you know, so we have those kinds of conversations. And then, you know, as you go along, tread lightly now, because you know your mama is a little different. But you know, I might be able to get there, but then
Right.
again, I may not. But he has to come into his own. And
Right.
again, I think that's what sports does for kids. They meet so many
Yes.
different kinds of people.
Yes.
And it gives them an opportunity. I mean, even going to college, sometimes everybody in college, whether we want it to happen or not, everybody gravitates to athletes. Somebody wants to know the football players and the basketball players, and those are kids on campus who kind of get that attention. And I think kids have to understand that. And there are in our society today, and probably, I mean, look at basketball. When you look at professional basketball players, or if you look at professional football players, the majority of them are married to white women. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them that I see. And so I always wonder, you know, you didn't meet any black women. I know we
I want someone actually though, I want someone to do the statistics
I mean, you didn't ever
as to
meet
whether it actually bears out to be true. Like, go through everyone who's married.
So let me
and
let me
let's
say
count
this.
them up, because I don't know.
My ex-husband was in the NFL for 6 years. Truthfully, most of the wives were black.
Okay.
Okay. This years ago, 10 years ago. Okay. They might all be white now. I don't know. But there are a lot of black women.
I think it is
Here,
a little bit of a mix. There's enough of them that you make
we're
you
there.
wonder the statistics ain't right.
We're there. However, it is a very high rate of a lot of black men with white women. And let me tell you something. I'm honestly okay with it. I feel like love is love.
I
Love
do.
you, love.
I do.
However,
I'm not gonna tell. Hey,
Mine
you
is
meet
you have
somebody-
to respect your community.
exactly. Well, and I think that you have to respect you.
And I say that because black women get this moniker and this necklace hung around our necks as it pertains to being married to professional men. We do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality.
Yeah.
If we say something, if we have an opinion, if we talk too loud, we are the angry black woman. Don't have an opinion, don't say anything, because somebody else may just let that slide. Well, that may not, that's not you, Nakia.
Right.
That's not.
Right.
So you may be deemed as the angry black woman, and that's not who you really are, but we carry that baggage, and sometimes I think really unfairly. So when you see it, I'm just always like, like,
Well, you know
nowhere?
what too? I think black women, we get pegged a lot, right? You're either a groupie,
Right.
with him for his money,
Right.
'Cause you too pretty to be with him, or a whole groupie.
Or you had a
That's all the
baby.
same thing.
Or you
Or you
had
had a baby.
trying to
Yeah,
trap
like
him.
there's all these stereotypes of
Right.
like, why she with him? Oh, she must
Right.
be with him for this.
Right.
Oh, she must be with him for that.
Right.
And you know, but in a negative way. But usually when it comes to white women, it's like, oh, she
Right.
probably took care of him through
Right.
college. Well, hold
Right.
on, I done wrote a few papers myself. Okay, I done did some
Right.
things. I mean, I
Right.
wasn't making a lady know, but that hamburger helper
I
was
did,
a fly.
But you know,
You know?
there are all of these little quirky, weird things there. I remember in school, I hope he doesn't see this, whatever it is.
He will.
No, because he's married now, he's fine. But I remember that I really liked this guy.
Mhm.
He was. But I really liked him. And we were best friends. And I really got to the point where I was like, I think I love him. And so, you best friends, college, how it is. You best friends. You always up at your best friend house, whatever. And I remember one time I was working in Chicago in the summer. I missed him so much that I came back to school because he was working at the school. He gave me his key. I came in the room, the apartment. I went and I rolled up in his bed and we were just friends. We were just, you know, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe he doesn't like me. Like, let's just all move on from this and, you know, whatever.
Well, I like a lot of ugly dudes too, but I think that
and you know, and first off, let me tell you. First off, wait, hold on. First off, I'm gonna tell you, I'm really mad because I still think we would have been great together.
Wow.
And he also actually makes a ton of money right now.
Yeah.
Like, he makes like 1.something million a year every year in corporate stuff. Like, it ain't even athlete
okay,
money.
so let me tell you.
And so he gonna make his money for a long time. Now he is married to a beautiful black woman and they have 2 beautiful kids and I'm really happy for y'all. I am. But
Right.
damn.
Yeah.
You know, and
I think that's what bothers me
Sorry,
about a lot
I went on a
of
tangent.
the black athletes
but my point
when they marry white women, because I think that it's like
So why don't white women get the same type of treatment that black women receive?
well, so
And
I think some of them do.
I do think some of them do.
Some of them do.
to an
To
extent.
an extent, but I also think there's so much to love that when you take it off the social media, the Twitter, the quick picture of it, there is so much to love.
Well, let me also
And-
tell you, black women and white women are raised a lot of times raised very differently. Black women are. I have a little rant about this.
Go ahead.
It kind of goes back to slavery, right? So if we go back that far, I wasn't there for it, but I'm just saying when you go back and you think about slavery times and you think about the men and what they had to go through, just when we go through BS at our own job and you come home, you're like, yeah, get this, everybody blow the microwave up, and then she gotta be like, boo, you got this, you got this. Imagine what that man was going through during slavery and how a black woman had to hold him up, right? Okay, so when you come to how black women are by nature, it might be like, shut up boy, get over this, you got this, come on now, let's go. That's kind of who we are by nature. Not necessarily in that tone all the time, but we are a very survival, we're gonna get through, this ain't the end of the world, we don't even live like that, we don't talk like that.
I think
Culture.
I think that you're right.
Yeah, I don't think
right.
a lot of white women have had to deal with that because that's not how they're taught. They're more so of like, hey, we're about our family. You see my voice change? We're staying here. You know, this is for the family. 16 years and I'm gone. That's all you're gonna get. You know, and we're a little different. You know, and we're kind of ultimatum like. Kind of bluffing, but it's really to build you up. But then we come off angry and black. Oh, she's so bitter. She's so mean. It's like no, I'm trying to build you.
But I think to piggyback on that, I think most of the times in our culture, you know, my mother demanded that I go to college, not to get married, not to find a husband, not to do any of that. My mother wanted me and taught me about being independent, and that's kind of. We get knocked around a lot for that. I had a lot of white friends who went to college to get married. They were going to find a husband in college and start a little family and the white picket fence.
Exactly.
Well, that wasn't what was preached at my home. I wasn't going there to find somebody to marry and have a lot of babies.
Right.
And, you know, he was going to have a job in the corporate world and our little structure was going to be set up. So I think just in our upbringing, and it's specifically with my son, is the reason that we talk about it. Because I don't want my son, whomever,
right.
I don't ever want him to think that somebody that looks like me is like on the back burner or far down the list.
Yeah.
I want a person that looks like me to be first and foremost in my son's mind, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
she's like the angry black woman.
She can be just as beautiful as the Amber Rose as the Kim Kardashian.
But not that she's the black. I want men to be able to appreciate the independence that black women have been taught.
Is that like a direct reflection upon the way in which you feel about your mother? If you're dating someone outside your race, right? So I have a black mother,
Mhm.
right? I got a sister. If I go marry a white woman or Asian or whomever, does that as a man, if you guys are looking at me, you say, well, why how could he possibly go and marry outside? He got a mom that looks like me. Do you guys feel that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think initially, I do. It's almost like a twinge, and it may not be a long-standing thing, but it's just sometimes and that's my thing. It's like like really, but not in a judgment kind of way, because I don't deal with it outside of what's presented to me. For me and my son, I want my son to know that being strong and being independent, we're not the angry black women. A lot of that is we have a different perspective, and we're oftentimes raised a little bit differently to look at things from a different standpoint. And I want him to be able to value those qualities, not just in a black woman, but in any woman. I want him to look for a woman who can be independent. Not somebody, you got to piggyback all the time. Somebody who's going to add value to his life.
So I actually don't care who you marry. I do want to make sure that you are exposed to a lot of people. And again, you respect your own community and your own people. But what you can't do in my house is bring home a stupid girl. What you cannot do.
When are you gonna find out whether she's stupid or not?
Oh,
On the entry interview?
yeah, on the entry interview.
Are you stupid?
Because I have a 25-year-old, I got some, whatever.
Practice.
And I remember there was one, she was Middle Eastern. She was sweet. But I was like, baby, no.
Yeah.
No, she's just not smart. Like, you have to remember that you may have children with this person.
Yeah.
And some of this may or may not be genetic. I don't know, but we not gonna take chances.
Well, remember how Big Mama used to say it, baby. You know the baby's gonna have to come out looking like somebody.
Well, I can't lie. I care.
So I can't.
You can't lie, you what?
I care.
You care
Yeah.
what?
I care who he marries and who he brings home.
I do
what she
too.
look like.
I do too.
Like, I think,
And who she is.
and who she is. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
who she is
to an extent I don't. I think if he came home and said, Mom, I love Ashley and Ashley's white, and I see something there, I'm good with that.
Would
But
you
if
feel the same way if he was in the NFL?
I might be
real
like,
about it, huh?
no, I mean, I can't lie. I might be a little bit like, where you meet Ashley at?
Right.
What her parents like? You met them first? You know?
should. If
Yeah.
that's the case, you should.
Right.
No, I mean,
I don't think there's anything wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I don't
See,
either.
because people try to skirt around that issue. I mean, it's a cultural thing. There's cultural differences. There's a racial difference. There's some things that interracial couples have to go through. Are you prepared for that? So you have to have those everybody, even if I get to the point where I love y'all, everybody's not. So are you gonna be okay with that? Because guess what? Her daddy might not like you.
thank you. And that's my point, because Ashley may love you to pieces.
Absolutely.
And her mom may think you are the greatest thing.
Right.
And her dad may tolerate you. But if her granddaddy's still alive and kicking for 15 more years, you have to deal with that.
Because if Bob McNair is her daddy,
Huh, let me
granddaddy,
tell you something.
then you have to look at who people are, and then you're gonna now be in that family structure. And I think specifically for athletes, I'm gonna tell you this: it's a new kind of day. I've been working in schools a long time, and I can say this: having a boy, having a son, I almost sometimes feel sorry for young men, because the girls in this day and age, and this is what I've seen with my own eyes. There's some girls out here that are being trained by some professionals. They know how to look for your kid. They will. There are so many. There was a young lady. They had a barbecue or something, And my son went and, I was like, well, you have to leave. I'll pick you up at 10 o'clock. And he was like, okay. Well, around about 9:45, Mom, can I stay till about 12? I was like, what? Well, her mom and dad, we're just watching movies, I said, I tell you what, at 12 o'clock, they're going to be watching some movies. But at 10 o'clock, I'm getting in my car.
Right.
And he didn't really understand that until I explained it like this. I said, let me tell you something. I've been around a long time. These people, when you have a barbecue, you spend all day and all night before getting ready for the barbecue, and then you get up and you barbecuing and people are over and you're eating and you're drinking and you're listening to music and everybody is having fun. And if you're 40 or older, round about 10:30, you tired. And somebody's starting to want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And so you two 16-year-olds,
Yeah,
y'all
tired.
just laying dead because you're not tired.
Right.
So it's okay you're in these people's house until it's not okay. Because you're still a young man, she's still a young lady, and you all have kind of some opportunity.
Right.
So at 10 o'clock,
I'll be there.
you need to be coming on up out of
Just
there.
when your Red Bull kicking in.
And we don't, there's a lot of things we have to prepare black boys for
Yes.
that, oh my God, over the moon. I mean, he understood it then, but I was like, hey, no, you can't stay at anybody's house
Right.
until midnight.
Is it easier for you to have that conversation with him or his dad?
Well, I think both, because I can give him the female perspective of
Yeah.
that, because I see it. The mom comes out and says, oh, Donovan is such a nice boy, and he's such a good-looking boy. I know, but he coming up out of your house at 10 o'clock. I know that.
Right.
I know that. I don't care how good-looking and how respectable he is. My son can't stay at your house until 12 o'clock,
Right.
and your daughter can't come to mine and stay that long either.
Right.
That's just
Ever.
what we ever.
Right.
Okay, because I grew up single mom, right? And so there's a lot of things within the single mom and the kid, when you said the same for you. My mom is a tough little lady, but I know that that's not really who she is,
Right.
because she had to do so much, right? That's why I asked the question. I think when you have both parents involved, you get that ultimate balance
Yeah.
where you can be nice and more lenient sometimes, and dad can be more stronger, and vice versa, depending on whatever the situation is. How was that for you, just being able to, you're doing pretty much everything solely on your own?
It's hard. There's no way around that. It's definitely hard. We had a little incident today, and I had to go up to the school on my lunch break and act a fool. Like that's what I felt like I need.
With the cap or without the cap?
Without the cap. Like, it was work. It was work. I've had that sweatpants no bra moment too though. Like, hey, it's real life, but here's the deal. I can't let a lot of things wait till we get home, right? Because it's just me and I have to.
Yeah.
Cause I might forget to feed y'all. If life gets too serious, we didn't have football, we didn't have basketball. I done went upstairs, took a shower, and fell asleep. And I don't know what has happened in the past few hours. Because my kids are older. They're old enough to do some things on their own now. So today I had to go to that school and I had to be tough. And I had to be tough, and I'm fingering in the face. I'm mean mugging. I'm looking at myself in the mirror like, dang, girl, you look scary. But then when I picked them up from football practice, I had Chick-fil-A.
Right.
A little vanilla.
Yeah.
Milkshake with the whipped cream.
Right.
I eat the cherry because he don't like cherry.
Right.
I'm like, how was school?
Right.
Right. Because you even came up here and embarrassed me.
Right.
But that's who I have to be. I have to be both.
Yeah.
Right? I have to give him the hardcore. Hey, let me tell you something. They don't want to see you win. You know what? You a black man at this school. You know what? You already man. They already looking at you. You think you look like a kid? And then when he gets in the car, I'm like, hey baby.
Right.
How are you? Was school good? Anyone messing with you?
Yeah.
Because
it's so funny. You were like my single mom days.
yeah, it's a struggle, and it's a hard balance of knowing if I'm doing the right thing, if I overreacted. Before I got here, I stopped at home, had to go walk the dog, and I'm talking to my homegirl Amira, and I'm like, bring me down. Was I wrong? You know, check me real quick. I went off. Here's what I said. Here's what I meant.
Right.
How do I got the milkshake.
Right.
How do I make this right?
Yeah.
Because I don't have someone to stop me and say, no.
But
I
you know,
got
but
Yeah.
but that's not necessarily how it always looks, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, I'm married,
this.
and my husband will go off and do one thing.
Right.
Like, they were all watching NFL. I was like, oh, we boycotting. I thought y'all knew. Turned off TV and walked away.
Yeah.
Daddy, you gonna let her do that?
Yeah.
But you know, I want to
You know.
say something about the whole single mom thing because that's kind of a thorn in my side. I never look at it like that. I'm not with my son's dad, but I don't consider myself a single mom. I'm just his mother. My marital status has nothing to do with my ability to parent. It doesn't have anything to do with that. All I can do from my vantage point is give my son that part of me. Now, I am co-parenting with his dad, and I've had to allow that to happen. And I do think this. I think as black women, we have to do more of that. I chose that man.
Co-parenting. Yes.
I chose that man back in the day, and everything was lovely, and we were laying and playing, and it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So I can't strip him of his involvement in my son, because my son needs both of those voices coming in his ear. He does.
Yeah.
So if Donovan is in a situation at school, then I call his daddy too. You know, this on you too. You don't get her out. Now, how you respond to it is gonna be different, but you are gonna know about it. So we had to work through some issues. But I think we've gotta let go of some of that baggage, because our kids, and that goes back to our community, our kids have to understand my mom and daddy don't have to be together. Because guess what, y'all? Now here's something that's real. It's some daddies at home that's absent.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's so true.
It's some two-parent homes where hell is going on. And so I don't like for people to just get stuck on, oh, that kid has a single mama, like me and the mama ain't shit. Well,
Right.
you are.
Right.
You all of that. And you're doing what it is that you do, and that's your circumstance. And we can only give, I can't give my son a male perspective, but here's what I can do. He has a father. He has 3 uncles. There are other men that I have surrounded my son by that I expect to be that male voice. And then that's where we go. That's how we. That's how we go.
Let me
with it.
counteract with that, because I come from a single parent. Well, I come from a divorced family. Father was very much. He died when I was 19, but he was very much active in my life, and obviously as well as my mom. My ex isn't, and it's by his choice.
Okay.
I don't like to say he's a deadbeat. I would never say that. He's alive and calls. But he moves definitely to the beat of his own drum.
Okay.
And I'm an only child, so there's no uncle.
Right.
My father's died,
Okay.
so there's no granddad. And I let me tell you something. I am a reacher. I'm like, hey, guess what? You look great. I got 2 black boys. Would you like to mix around? You know, I'm that mom. I'm always trying to find someone. But one thing, and one thing that I do know, and I say to myself a lot, I say, God wouldn't have put me in this situation if I couldn't handle it.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
I am a single parent. If I'm not, it's because of the help of my mom. But again, we are 2 women raising 2 boys, and there's a lot that's going on that I don't know. My water bill was sky high.
Right.
I don't know what's going on in that shower. I'm just saying. I take long showers too, and my water bill ain't never been that high. That's all I'm saying. And I've been taking showers a lot longer than he has.
But the reality is, it's more than that. So, me and my husband, we there every day, but one of us ain't flying to work. But we don't have any family in Houston. So they don't have, and me and my husband lament about this, they don't have big cousins to teach them just enough extra,
Yeah.
just enough extra.
Yeah.
You know, the things that you wouldn't want to ask your
Right.
mom, and you don't want to ask your
That
friends,
other person.
that other person,
Yeah.
you know. And my sister's son came and visited us for 2 weeks. Got my younger son just all up to speed. Just, you know, just took him up to your hair.
You good now, Sam?
Yeah. See you in 2 years.
But, you know, the point of that, and that's not to in any way diminish a mother or a father, but it really is a village, and people have all sorts of different influences that, as long as they are, you know, good and positive, you know, can really be a factor, whether it's a grandmother, a grandfather, a grand uncle, a cousin. You know, that dude that, because you call his mama auntie, you think is your cousin. And anyone as adults had to break down and realize, oh, we're not actually related.
Bro, I say that to people all the time, because you definitely hear me say my brother, and again, I'm an only child.
Right.
I have tons of cousins, and I'm an only child. I don't have a lot of cousins, but I do.
Yeah.
You know. But I think, you know, it's so, I think sometimes a lot of men don't understand that you can co-parent, and that, you know, I think sometimes
And a lot of women don't understand
that
because
too.
you can co-parent.
Yeah, and that you have to have
I
that.
think a lot of them are still stuck.
Yeah.
They're still stuck back there.
Mhm.
And so you got to move forward.
Some of it is stuck, some of it is controlling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Some
so.
of it is controlling,
I think so.
you know, some of it is you've built this whole world for your child, and you have a lot of ideas about how it should be input, but you don't want, you know, some negative inputs. Well, you know, let the negative input. Like I said, I'm married to my husband, and he's a negative influence in a couple of ways. What am I gonna do about it?
Right.
You know, just I gotta roll with it. So
Well,
you
see,
gotta roll with.
And that's kind of the situation that I feel like I've been in. Sometimes I feel like I've looked for mentors for my boys. And not in men that I've dated, because I've honestly never brought anyone home. But I feel like I don't want to let them down, and I don't want anyone else, another man, to let them down. So if no man,
Listen, if it's left to my husband, my boy's gonna be hers.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of how
So-
it is with their dad. Like, I mean, and
You know,
I don't think
so
that he
I
means
gotta
for that to
manage.
be. I don't think that that's what
I gotta
he means for them
manage.
to be.
You
But I
know,
think
you know when my baby boy come home and say, "Mom, Daddy, Mommy, I like a girl," you know, my conversation is gonna be enjoy the kiss next week, linger in the moment, stretch this out 10 years. Daddy gonna be like, "You better hit that. You better when you come home tomorrow."
yeah, is that Kevin Hart? Yeah, is that Kevin Hart? Let me know we big. It's small, we big at the same time.
You know, and we, you know, it's so
Yeah.
Hey. Transition, man. Let's go elsewhere.
Next.
It was interesting. Wow. No. Jumping back to, maybe a minute ago, we started talking about sports as a gateway for so many things and experiences in life.
Yeah.
And it gives you an opportunity to learn about so many different things. With that being said, I really want to get y'all's opinion on a lot of things that's happening in the NFL.
Okay.
Because when you say sports is a gateway, you learn so many other things. To me, and I'm gonna let y'all speak, but I want to throw it out there because if you disagree, I need to hear it. To me, those guys did not get that gateway. It seems like so many of those guys don't have another option besides football. Because a lot of times, to me, it's like if I know that I'm successful in so many other things, damn what you saying, you had it, I'm gone. You know what I mean? But it just, and these are brothers, but they are in a situation right now, and I can say it like this, I think that we probably expect too much of them. They did it, for the most part, most of them did what they could.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. We talk what? Did what they could and what?
Well, put it like this, what I'm saying is this, what I'm saying, like, for the most part, all of it, all of the above, because what I'm saying is, and I'll make mine in 30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay.
Look, I think that for the rookies probably shouldn't have to do, the veterans who've made their money should be saying, hey man, y'all play. They can't hold y'all accountable. We made our money, we good. But right now it seems like it's never enough money. It's like they want to live next door to that guy who pays them, and that neighborhood don't really want you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just wonder, what are y'all thoughts on the guys and their opinions?
I got to get my perspective in real quick.
Okay.
So I'll be real brief. So for me, I always felt that they shouldn't be playing. Like if you took the stance of not playing in the game, do you understand the impact that has on the NFL? If those guys showed up on Sunday, kickoff is at 3:00, and they get there at 1, and at 2:45, don't nobody go out there, and the arena is filled with people. Now you're talking about some real impact, like taking a knee and not standing and having the Star Spangled Banner being sung, and you in the locker room. That to me, that was just BS. I felt like if it was a group of, if NFL was made of black women, y'all wouldn't have played.
Well, but WWE has played.